Stop. I thought she fixed it.
No.
You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it.
Call the meeting in order. Call the meeting in order at 6:30 p.m. First item, pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Or you can follow one. Next item up on the agenda is the adoption of minutes. Can I get a motion to adopt the August 7th, 2025 minutes?
I'll second.
Councilman Moore, the second. All in favor? Aye. Yes. Next item on the agenda is the Melvin Farms public hearing. I just want to remind residents, we're going to let everybody talk. We're not going to shut this down or anything, so just take your time. But the one thing I'm going to ask, you got to come up to the microphone and speak, so the town clerk can write the information down. If you choose to give your name, you can. You don't have to. So that being said, let me call the meeting to order. Let's reopen can I get a motion to reopen the Melvin Farms public hearing on incentive zoning at 6:32 p.m.
I'll move it. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All yes. The public hearing is now underway. As I had stated before with the rules,
Let Mario go before we open it
Mr.
up.
DeRegio, before we open up comments, Mr. DeRegio's here on behalf of the developer. So Mario, if you'd come up to the mic, do you want the wireless one, or do you want to stand there?
Well, this is okay. I don't have
Okay.
a lot to say. We've made some additional changes to the LOI. The biggest change is that we're going to be putting up a bond for $4.3 million as the cost to the town of putting together this pump station and the force main and the gravity sewer to 370. That's, there's a few other changes, but that's the primary change. Answer any questions that anybody might have?
And so if you're okay, I'm going to let Mr. Yeager speak for a few minutes about what the sewer connections and what this would mean to the area.
Absolutely.
Okay?
What was that number?
4.3 million.
From 1 million.
That's just the value. I'll explain it.
Okay.
Let me, yeah, I'll get you there. I'll get you there. So a few weeks ago, back in
Turn your microphone on.
a few weeks ago, I think it was. Can everybody hear me? All right. So a few weeks ago, I think it was the end of May, we presented a study. We looked at sewering Palmer Elementary. We looked at a few different options. One option was what we're talking about here tonight, going through Melvin Farms. The other option was getting over to Timber Banks. There's two ways we could get into Timber Banks. Bottom line is the costs are astronomical for the existing residents without having some kind of density on this parcel. For example, with this project moving forward and the 537 units of debt service being applied for this project, plus the 146 units that are existing that would get served in phase one of this project, the annual debt service per equivalent dwelling unit is $227. If this project doesn't move forward and the town constructs it all and bonds for it all and builds the 146 existing units, the debt service goes to $2,800 a year.
For how long?
30 years, which is unsustainable. We understand that. The town understands that that's not sustainable, that's not a reality. But But the bottom line is we do need to figure out a way to get Palmer School sewer. Otherwise, everybody in the community is paying for a new septic system for Palmer School, which preliminary estimates are at about $2 million. So there's that benefit of this. When we looked at Timberbanks, the least expensive option to connect into Timberbanks would have resulted in we would have served very few residents, only those few residents on Patchett Road and the piece at the corner of the Five Corners. And the cost, the debt service cost was $2,000 a year for 30 years for those residents. Again, it's over the comptroller's threshold of what's allowed, and it's really not, that's a hardship that the town board would have a hard time putting on any resident. So that's how we got to where we are. That's, ultimately, without something being built there, Cold Springs Peninsula never gets sewers. There's many residents that are existing there that have built homes or bought homes in neighborhoods that have dry sewers. They've been promised sewers. Somehow we got to connect them. And the cost to connect them without infill development like this is astronomical. That's just, and it's unattainable or unfair to those residents. The long-term plan for the town since 1968 has always been you would sewer from west to east, from the wastewater treatment plant on Barbara Lane all the way to the end of the Cold Springs Peninsula. Unfortunately, the development has occurred in a checkerboard pattern, and you've got these blank pieces in the middle that never got developed, which because of inflation and the cost of construction, have resulted in something that is unaffordable for our existing residents to get the sewers that they were promised. And there's an environmental impact to this as well. I mean, we've got all these homes on the river, all these that are tributary. Unfortunately, they're subsurface wastewater disposal systems or septic systems. By today's design standards, that they wouldn't be viable because they are, essentially resulting in pollution to the river. So the intent of incentive zoning is to allow density, higher density than would normally be allowed in the AR40 zoning district to overcome some of the cost implications of our, that would affect our existing residents to provide them sewer. With that, feel free, if residents want to come up, I'll answer questions. I know Mario will answer questions, and I'm sure the board will answer questions.
Yes, so the investigator's done and the developer has spoken. As I had said before, feel free to come up one at a time or put your hand up and we'll grab you from the audience to come up, and you have 5 minutes. We're going to keep it to something to keep everything going if we get through everybody or whatever and someone has a secondary comment. Just all I'm going to ask is, if you're going to get up and reiterate what somebody already said, we've heard it. So for the people in the last 2 years, this public hearing was opened in May of 23, was put on hiatus until roughly May of 25. And we have adjourned it or held it as we have received information that we had looked for as a town board. I have put all the information we have available up on the town website. There was, it's under important notices. There's probably 15 attachments. Some of these are voluminous. The traffic report is 120 pages. To print that out for people would be very difficult. So that is up on the website. Everything that we are looking at is available on the website. The only thing I just added today were the revisions that we had suggested and the revisions that were made by the developer on July 7th. All of those revisions actually were benefits. It was nothing taking away, the developer is at 537 units right now. The bonding agreement to increase to $4 million, that would be to build the sewer system out if something were to happen, if the developer cannot fulfill that plan. So we have tried to cover all of the bases on the incentive zoning. This project is in an incentive zoning area. This was decided by the board in 2015 and revised in 2016. The comprehensive land use plan that we are going by to help with this has been created in 2017 and revised in 2023. A lot of this development hits earmarks that have been through planning board, county planning board, zoning board reviews. A lot of this project has already touched on those. But it doesn't mean that your interests do not count, but it is one part of the equation. So I just ask people to take that into account. The solar farm that is already being built on part of this site was already in the planning board process well before the moratorium started in 2023. So the solar farm that's being built, well, considered part of this project, was already through. The moratorium still exists. Nobody else can come forward with solar or battery storage right now until September 20th. We may have to extend that if you stick around for the proposed code changes. We will address that tonight. So I'm just reminding people of the bases we know. The traffic study I know was not up on the website until a week and a half ago. The traffic study was done in 2023. It was with the original build out of 588 units.
Right.
We're down roughly 10% on that. So obviously there'd be a very minor difference in traffic compared to the reports that are there. I just wanted to try to cover a lot of bases that I know people are going to bring up that we have heard. We understand that. So as we move forward here and people talk tonight, like I said, you have 5 minutes. Please come up to the microphone and talk. Remember, clapping, cheering, yelling, screaming, that doesn't help. It doesn't help the town clerk be able to report the minutes. So if you could refrain from anything like that, we all know that people have opinions, so.
One more thing I want to make sure the public is aware of, because it's not talked about in the LOI, but the New York State DOT has come back and said that they are going to require left turn lanes east and westbound on 370 as part of the traffic improvements for the project.
At the Hayes and Hicks Road.
At the Hayes and Hicks Road intersection. So that's an important thing to consider from a traffic movement standpoint for 370 traffic.
So if you look at that map, they do have a separate entrance and exit for further up the road. If you're going past Abbott's toward the village, currently they didn't see a need for a turn lane there. It would be at the intersection where the traffic light is right now. So
Are you eliminating that road cut then?
let Mr. Chambers put his hand up first. We'll let Bill talk, and then the next person can put their hand up. We'll grab them and we'll take your comment.
I'd like to thank, is this on?
I think so.
Yep. Yeah, you just might have to get it closer. Everything failed yesterday in the 80s.
I'd like to thank the board for having this opportunity to have the public hearing. First, I do have a question because I'm a little confused on, the cost went from 1.68 million to $4 million.
So the difference there,
Pump station.
the difference there is if the developer constructs it on his own,
Right.
he constructs it at non-prevailing wage rates. He did not include any contingency in his estimate.
I don't care what, that's the number, 4.8 million?
4.3 million.
Okay, that's their contribution.
To constructing it if they do not construct it on their own. If they fail to meet their obligation and the town pulls their bond,
Okay.
we believe that's what the cost would be.
Perfect, but if they build it on their own, it's around 1.7.
Yeah, 1.7, 1.8 million.
Okay. Thank you, that explains it. So my first question is, if the developer builds 50 houses and then goes out of business, who pays the debt service for the remainder of the 30 years? If after 1 year he says, this is it, I'm done.
So when we write the map plan and report for the sewer district, which defines how the billing will be, the map plan and report will link the density that's approved on each parcel within the Melvin Farms development will pay that number of debt service units on it.
So there's 50 houses built and they go out of business. There's about 200 houses, including my house. I'm Bill Chambers from Camerdale Road. I've lived here 42 years. So who pays the remainder of the debt service? They're gone. Do the 200 remaining people, including myself and my wife, pay the rest of it?
Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Kevin, but unpaid tax, so that would be on their tax bill. The county reimburses the town for unpaid tax bills.
For 30 years.
Let's face it, somebody, well, no, because it would go up for tax auction after 3 years, and it's a very valuable piece of property that would certainly get bought and developed.
There's no assurance it would be developed. I think you're making an assumption there that it would be developed.
I think it's
in the meantime, would I be responsible?
no.
No, because
Well, you're going
debt
to default
service,
on your bond?
the debt service would be applied. If we got to, this is a hypothetical, the entire sewer district gets created.
Right.
We're planning on 537 units coming out of here on
Right.
top of the rest of the existing
Right.
debt. That would be on their tax bill as debt service to the sewer district.
Could that be bonded?
Not follow what you're asking.
Could their obligation be
Could we make
bonded?
them keep like a fund where that would be paid? Well, so this is how the taxes work. So the county makes the town and all the smaller municipalities whole when we receive your taxes. So the county,
If we don't
paying-
receive your taxes, the county makes us whole.
right, if someone doesn't pay their taxes, the county makes the towns, the smaller municipalities whole first. So the county incurs the indebtedness. That's why the county would then put your property up for tax auction. They're the ones holding the debt.
Thank you for your answer. It doesn't make me feel a whole lot better. I'm a conservative CPA. I've worked my whole career. I need to understand things before I can support something. That's helpful, but it's a partial answer. I would also ask the board to provide to the residents information about Landmark and the company, what other developments they've done, obtain audited financial statements, whatever you normally would do if you're a bank, because in essence, you're a bank. We're the bank. You're the bank. You should have information on everything they've ever done in the last 30 years, 20 years. What developments have they done? What, have they gone well? Have they not gone well? Talk to people in all those, in the towns and other areas where they've done. I think Mr. Dracy would understand that. It's important as a good, solid conservative that you want to understand the risk you're taking when they become your partner. There's some other comments I have, and one of them is in the letter of intent that was submitted, I think with Mario, with your name on it. And it says at one point, the following: as previously noted, Palmer Elementary School operates a septic system that will fail in the next few years. Is that based on a study that you did?
I didn't do it, it was just
It was based
basically
on Palmer's study.
general
that they did,
information, and it's
because
presented as that.
Palmer presented that to us, that they're on a septic system that is failing currently right now, as we sit. And it's got to be replaced in the next 2 years.
The school district, I thought there were going to be people in attendance, but the school district.
That's a report that.
Yeah,
you
that's
have-
a report.
School
That's a
district
report
has
you
to make a
have.
decision.
You can call the school district and they'll be more than happy to share that information.
Okay,
That's what they
I
share
just think
with
it's
us.
strong language to say it's going to fail.
It is going to fail. It's failing right now, and that's what they told us. Yes, they told me that.
yes. I mean, the school,
And that's what the whole push is for as well, too.
we've had annual meetings with the school district over where this project's going because of making their decision for long-term debt planning on what they would have to do.
So going back to the first question, maybe this answers it. The comptroller has a limit of some threshold.
The state comptroller
State
for-
comptroller,
for a
600. And does that include on like a county share?
That's total cost, so that's the Onondaga County treatment charge
Right.
in the debt service.
So if in fact, the issue that I'm concerned with happened, would they step in and say, I'm not responsible, or the 100, 200 people who are in there, if option 1A was adopted, would not be responsible for anything more than 600?
I think the answer is, again, I'll step in if I'm misstating this, the sewer district's going to be created with a certain number of parcels,
Right.
units that are going to be charged. I think, Al, you said 200 and some odd dollars per unit.
Yep.
If they fail, that charge still exists on those units, and it's on their tax bills, and the county makes us whole, and with that money,
There are no units.
Doesn't
It's wrong
matter.
land.
Doesn't matter.
No, but the
Doesn't
units are already
matter.
incorporated into their bill.
it's already in their.
Even though they're not built yet, those units would be on the bill for
So
the,
the county, when they make us whole, we've in effect for that year received all the money we need to satisfy debt service for that year. Ad infinitum for as long as the property is still not paying
This
itself.
is getting better, it's very helpful, but I have a question for Mario that would make it go away, totally go away, and would assure that I would knock on doors to help you.
Yeah.
It's 2.9 million, the town's share, I think, is it 2.9 million for the bonding?
No, it's 4.3 million.
No, that's to construct the.
The town's
I see-
cost for
I see where this is going.
1A?
Yep, see where this is
he's
going.
looking at the proposed sewer district.
Right.
If
So-
Melvin Farms were to be built, the
So this is
additional
it,
area.
Mario. Bill Chambers, at the meet you. Give them another 2.9 million, and I'm gonna support you all the way. And I think the people who.
He's not giving it to us, if that was your request.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. 2.9 million, it's only for
Please keep-
537 units, it's chump
Keep in
change.
mind a couple of things. Number one, to put up $4.3 million bond, you pretty much have to put in that much cash in the bank to secure it.
Oh, I know.
Okay. Good. The other point is, we're going to actually, taking your scenario, we're going to actually build the system, okay, the pump station, so that if we then go bankrupt and go out, you still have the system, debt-free. That system is now the town's, and it's debt-free. And if we don't
But the
do
town's
it,
put in another 2.9 million that I'm gonna be paying for, so I'm just asking you nicely.
okay, I'm not aware of
Well,
that.
he's in Gloria and Camerondale, which would be hooked up, so they would have a debt service.
Yeah, the debt
The development would be also
But
tied
from the
into.
developer's point of view, what I'm saying is, he's already built the pump system and the force main,
Right.
and that's debt-free. So if he goes bankrupt, the town still has a huge asset.
I'm not gonna disagree, I'm just, regardless of any of those scenarios, I'm asking for $2.9 million more for the Palmer Elementary School, for the kids. And that's, I can finish with that. And I'm not laughing about it, I'm serious. Because I will go door to door asking people to request that you pay 2.9 million more to fund the project. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I don't know your name, I know you didn't ask, so you can come up with my.
Well, I prepared some comments, but this
Sure.
kind of gone in a little different direction, so.
Okay.
First question I have, you say it's $253 per unit for the debt service of the sewer?
220, hang on, let me go back to that page. 227
Is that per apartment or per unit?
per apartment, per unit. We're gonna not do it at a discount for apartments, where apartments are going to be one equivalent dwelling
Okay,
unit.
it's more
Aren't
like
they
talking-
usually a half unit,
3/4.
3/4?
Well, if the apartment's 4 units, then you got 4 times 2.
No. Each unit within the apartment building pays 1 unit of debt service. So if you have a 4-plex townhouse, that's 4 units of debt service. If you have 140 senior apartments, that's 140 units of debt service.
Right, so each toilet that flushes in a unit is going to pay a debt service.
Correct.
Okay, because I know I pay 400 and, whatever I looked at.
$453.
462. I looked at my tax bill before I came here. Anyways, I have a whole different, well, I'm going to go through my issues, and I want to talk more about the money side of things. Because I'm also financially, in that kind of world. This project started out back in 2015 as an AR-40 for 172 single-family homes. That was the initial project back in 2015. That was not approved due to density issues. Then I attended the meeting May of last year, and about 2 years later, and I don't know all of why it wasn't approved the way it was done. The maps changed a little bit, the density's a little bit less. But my biggest concerns, financially, yes, because my house isn't going to pay for it, I don't think, because I'm in Holly Hill. So we already have our sewer district. But my biggest concern is the safety of Lysander residents and the people who travel the roads around here. You say you have a big, let me just preview. We finally have the traffic light at 370 Hayes and Palmer. Before that traffic light, every day, there were sirens going to that intersection with accidents, serious injuries, etc. I don't hear it as often anymore. I started to ask about the road cut on 370. Is that road cut still coming out on 370, or is that gone away?
It's still coming out.
Still coming out. And looking at the map, how far to the west of Abbott's entrance is that road cut? Can you say? I can't tell off that map over there.
No, I can give you the dimension. Hang on a second.
Guessing a few hundred feet.
I think it's
Oh, it's more
about
than a few hundred.
half a mile.
Abbott's is in front of the easement area.
Yeah,
2,900
tiny little map that, yeah.
2,980 feet, sir.
2,980? Is that going to be a right turn only or a full intersection?
That's really a DOT question. At this point in time, they haven't weighed in on that because the developer hasn't asked for the curb cut yet. What the DOT has said at this time is for a development of this density, the developer will need to construct left turn lanes for eastbound and westbound traffic on 370.
Correct. Which is good.
Yes.
Which is very good. My concern is if they make that a full intersection where they're proposing, you're moving the problem we had with the light that's there now to a different intersection. If it's a right turn only, they're not going to be crossing traffic. Like when you go out of Cicero down at Lawton Valley, they come out to right turn only. So you're not crossing 31 to make a left turn.
One of the differences between now and before the traffic light, the traffic light creates gaps. So your primary turning movement at Hicks, Hayes, and 370 is eastbound, is your primary turning movement for all vehicles entering 370. Sure, there's some that turn left and go toward the village, but it's if you look at the traffic counts, it's a low percentage.
It's probably going the other way.
Exactly.
Right.
So you have plenty of gaps to allow people to make that left-hand turn movement, or you should have plenty of gaps to allow people to make the left-hand turn movement from the proposed curb cut onto 370 westbound towards the village.
Right, kind of like what I do at Holly Hill at the top of it.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm sure you've seen a difference now that the traffic light has been installed
Yeah.
from a gap
Correct.
for making that turning movement. So the same applies.
Okay. The other question, and I don't know how many people really do this, but they could avoid the light at 370, which I don't know why they would do, and just go down Hayes and come out down by the Elks Club, which makes sense, but that's a...
That turning movement at the Elks Club is a nightmare.
Right. If you make a left, forget it.
Yeah.
537 units, probably is going to be what, another 2,200, 2,500 individuals living down there, approximately?
No.
Not that many?
No, because you have 140 senior apartments. Most senior apartments are only one occupancy.
One or two? Okay.
Yeah, most of them are only one predominantly. Most apartments even are one occupant. It's about 50-50 between one and two occupants. So I think you're probably more in the 800 to 900 resident range when it's all said and done.
Well, I think that's a little low, maybe.
With 140 senior
kids.
apartments, I don't know as it is.
Well,
And family sizes have shrank.
family size, 3, 4, and Lysander is very popular. People want to live here.
It's,
We can't sell that. The selling point here has always been getting the sewers to power. I think that goes without saying. The cost, I initially thought it went up, but again, whatever it costs the developer to build it out, that's their issue. If it costs them $1 or it costs them $5 million, that's their problem. If they default, then we have $4.something million to finish it, if I understand it correctly. The sewage treatment plant that is behind my house, they just did major construction on it. We all know what the problems were with it, with odors, et cetera, covering it. With all this new sewer flow going into the Baldwinsville treatment plant there, Baldwinsville, Seneca Knolls, are we going to have to extend that within a few years? Is it going to handle the sewer flow? What's going to happen with that?
I was just talking with the new commissioner WEP this afternoon. We've verbally been told at a couple different meetings that there's capacity in the plant to handle this development. And I was assured this afternoon that we will get a capacity assurance letter before our next meeting.
Okay, so if their capacity letter stated that we're going to have to do an extension in 2, 3, 4 years, will we ask Mario's gang here to, I don't mean to call you a gang, but Mario's people to put up something to pay for that?
So I've done an in-depth analysis of the published flow data from the Baldwinsville Seneca Knolls treatment plant.
I don't know how it works. I flush the toilet and have
We don't want that smell on your roads, put it that way.
I don't want the smell back.
So right now, Baldwinsville Seneca Knolls, from a flow standpoint, from the design capacity, is operating at about 50%
Okay,
of
so
what
that
the
would
design capacity is. From a BOD standpoint, which is strength of the waste, because of our food production businesses in their Addison Industrial Park, they're running at about 78% of design capacity. Residential waste is very low strength from a BOD standpoint.
Right.
And like with all pollution, this may seem like a bad way to say it, but dilution is a solution. So more flow of low strength waste actually helps the design capacity from a BOD standpoint.
Right, more extra water flow.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I'm just going through some of my bullet points here. Is Lysander, I haven't heard where Lysander is given any tax breaks or anything, or
Nothing has been promised.
nothing's been promised. Okay. So we're not,
No, and
we,
on the county
taxpayers, aren't
end,
paying for it.
there's nothing,
We're
workforce
not-
housing is on the county plan, and there is no workforce housing in this proposal.
Okay. My final point here, and I brought this up last time, but I tried to put it in simpler terms because I know the county, everybody knows what's trying to be happening here, more density, et cetera. I ran numbers at 172 homes. If they were built at an average selling price of $750,000, that would give an assessed value of $129 million into the town. If a $750,000 home, you can't build a home under $750,000 these days. That's a tax bill of $23,000. A tax bill of $23,000 times 172 homes brings in $3.956 million worth of revenue. I don't know what this whole project's going to bring in tax-wise. I don't think it's going to bring in that much money. And then we have all the density that goes with it, the safety concerns, the fire, the ambulance, the extra traffic, build out of schools, and everything. But I'd be really curious to know what the tax revenue is going to be from this project.
So the assessor did do an analysis of that. I don't have it right here in front of me.
I I couldn't find anything on the
We
website.
did it last meeting.
So the assessor, as I recall, came up with a conservative value of the taxable value of this project would be $82 million.
Okay. That's conservative, because this is conservative too, because you're not gonna build houses in 3 years for $750,000.
Exactly.
So what I am saying here is you're gonna have more revenue, keeping it, not bringing all this traffic to us, not having to improve the schools, not having to have bigger fire stations.
If they built by AR 40, with the current zoning,
Current zoning, correct.
Current zoning with the new wetland regs, you're not getting
you wouldn't have to give us the money for the pump station, you would have to put the bond up because there's no, this is a planning board issue if you built 100, I mean, now that the solar farms are. If he decided to build out AR 40, we wouldn't accept the roads because the roads wouldn't pay for themselves. Because
The
you
developer
have
pays
acre
for
lots.
No,
No, we would require them to be private roads because they would not pay for themselves in the upkeep and maintenance.
So what
The long term.
So Holly Hill, when we built that was R15. There's sewers there. Obviously, you can build more houses. If it was changed to single family, R15, R20. I don't know how many.
If you took this and made it R20, you're looking at
How many houses?
400.
340. So there's things that we're overlooking. You're overlooking here.
Okay, maybe.
So one is the solar farm took up a chunk of this now. So that comes out of the equation for the number of homes you can build. Two, there's a lot of wetland encumbrances on that parcel. And now, because of the new state wetland regulations, each one of those wetlands would have, if they came back with a new proposal for R40, each one of those wetlands would have a 100-foot setback requirement on it.
Right, used to be 30.
Yeah, and it's always been 100, but it was federal wetlands before. Now there are no federal wetlands in MS4 jurisdiction. So there would be, basically what I'm saying is, if you try to develop this with a conventional AR40 zoning district,
You're not gonna get anywhere.
I don't think you're getting 100 homes. And 100 homes isn't gonna punch the ticket to build the pump station in the force main because the cost of the lots is gonna be $250,000 a piece, nobody's gonna pay that.
Right.
So the idea that you're gonna develop this with conventional zoning, even if you tried to do a cluster development and went to R20, you're still not getting to 172 units.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
So if the town wanted to, as I recall, in 2015, that got shot down because everybody was concerned about the view shed on 370. In hindsight, the town probably, in 2015, probably should have said, yeah, this is a good move. They didn't.
Right, well,
And because of inflation and because of everything else, we're in a
quandary.
We're in a quandary. We are. We've allowed the school district septic system to exceed its life expectancy.
Right.
It is not functioning as intended. If we didn't have the dry out period that we have in the summertime when school isn't in session, there would be breakouts all over that septic system leach field. So to say that, I don't want to phrase this.
Well, there's a number of factors that would limit the change, but the other part is, with that zoning, we wouldn't get the pump station, we wouldn't get the sewers.
Well, they always made, I used to work for a developer here and a home builder, and they always made the developer pay for it. But anyways, my only bringing this up is I didn't know if there was a better utilization of that big piece of parcel of land to not have the density that's going to come to the area.
The other piece of this that I think everybody overlooks when they really start thinking about this is there's a very small percentage of the population that can afford to buy $750,000 homes. If you look at what the rate of construction is of new homes in the town of Lysander, total combined, you're 40 to 50 single-family homes a year in the entire town.
Right.
So to build out that development at single-family, you would be decades, and you have a very small percentage of the population that can afford that caliber of home.
Right.
the trend, because of construction costs, and I think this is nationwide, this isn't just in upstate New York, is people are gravitating towards higher density living, whether it be townhouses, whether it be apartments, whether it be small lots with smaller homes, because of the long-term cost. Again, how many people can afford a $23,000 tax bill a year?
Not many, and then the interest rates are double.
Exactly.
Double what they were,
You've just eliminated the vast majority of the population cannot afford that style of living anymore. There's no other way to say it. It's,
I understand, I'm in the business.
yeah.
Basically, there's some, I'm just bringing up stuff that I just think, to talk about. This is summing up my concern in density, safety, cost, and the benefit to us, the taxpayers. So, thanks everybody for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to come up next?
Yep.
Sure.
Hi, Paula Campbell, I live on Perryville Road. A year ago, I stood here and asked if the development didn't go through, would the sewer still come down on Perryville Road? And I was told, no, we don't have any money. What's happening now? If the development doesn't go through, is the whole thing gonna be washed? Or is this something that's going to go through and the town of Lysander is gonna pick up the sewers and go down Perryville to the river and tie in all these people on their sewer system? We paid for years on our tax bills for sewers that we couldn't use, we didn't have, because we were in the area. And it was just till maybe a couple of years ago when it came off our tax bills. On Barbara Lane, there was a sewage treatment plant or a pump station, and we had it in our tax bills that we were being charged for sewage.
So do you,
I think what you're referring to, I think what you're referring to is the county water charge.
No, it was a sewage charge. It was
What's your address? We'll pull up the tax
We paid
bill.
for, what did we pay for the water?
Probably-
20 years, or we paid for the water,
screwed up
which was
there.
paid off a few years ago. But we were charged because of Barbara Lane, because we lived in the sewage, that pumping station area. And it's not come off the tax bills, but we paid for years on it.
I think
I
what
wish
you-
I brought a tax bill.
I think what you're referring to is the county water charge.
No, it was not
sewage right
water,
on
it
the
was
bill.
sewage.
I've never seen that.
Anyway,
I'd have to find that, I was.
I should have brought a tax bill with me, I lied
Yeah, because
about it.
that was
Yeah.
charged in error.
District there.
Right.
But my question is, are you bringing sewers down Perryville and including the river down there? Surbrook, Perryville, that whole area?
So the first phase of the sewer district would be connecting the dry sewered areas. The second phase of the sewer district would be to get the Red Rock neighborhood and the western 2/3 of Hayes Road sewered.
Okay.
We would be
So you're
looking
saying the second,
phase.
Phase,
And
which
that would
is-
happen when the piece that Abbott just sold, the 68-acre piece that Abbott just sold that's between this development and Red Rock got developed, they would be contributing to the cost of that. And on top of that, we would be chasing grant that your neighborhood and the Hayes Road neighborhood has a high probability once this pump station and force main is constructed to receive a water quality improvement grant because of your proximity to the river.
okay.
But the value of those grants is never going to be enough to pay for the full pump station construction and force main construction.
So in other words, if this falls through with the housing, we're not getting them again.
It would, so here's what could happen in that area, and I'm not threatening people, I'm just the reality of it. If anybody remembers Whispering Oaks years ago, there was a DEC
Consent order.
consent order because of sewage going into the watershed, AKA the Seneca River. If this doesn't get built, let's say a few years down the road, some of those sewer systems fail and the DEC comes through and they say there's sewage going into the river, they would require the town to build that sewer system.
Okay.
So if this isn't there, we still need a pump station we would need grinder pumps, and we would need to pump the sewage from that bottom half up to BSK, which if this doesn't happen, we already know that that pump station would be at least $1 million. I mean, you're not getting out of the whole cost of it, but it wouldn't be serving as large of a district.
Right.
That would be the reality of where the town wouldn't have a say at that point. If it were to occur, this isn't, I'm not trying to fear monger, but this, it happened in Cuyahoga County. They did it over at Fairhaven when my parents lived there. They slowly made their way around the bay and connected everybody to sewers. But at that point, it would be out of your hands of deciding that. And I'm not calling the DEC, but they would eventually start to inspect.
I can call the DEC.
Right. But then that cost, now if we had that infrastructure there, that cost wouldn't be as large as if all that stuff had to be built and the infrastructure to get it from this point up to there.
Okay, so this whole deal with this building and everything, this is still up in the air, it's not a definite.
No, this is, sorry, the plan is we have all the information, we have no more information to give the public. So we sent the letters out to let everybody know, here's our last swing at the public hearing part. If there's anything additional tonight, we will give it to the developer. They would revise the letter of intent one more time. And then we would probably vote at the next meeting or the meeting after if all the paperwork gets done on the deciding factor of, the board would sit here and decide, do the benefits outweigh the costs?
Okay.
But as Mr. Yeager said, we have already applied this year to try to get a grant. We applied last year to get a grant in case this doesn't happen to cover the top part of the project. We were unsuccessful. The state and the county, the state who gives the grant is really looking for medium to high density housing to try to qualify a district, especially we have a tough time asking for a grant when the average home cost is over $400,000 in the town of Lysander.
Right.
So we have a couple factors that play at how we can apply, but that area, Surbrook, Red Rock, that would be a place where the state would go, hey, we need to throw some money at this to take care of this because of what is there, and there isn't an opportunity for more development. I mean, most of that would not be developed now, being in a floodplain in the current rules.
Okay. The problem is, we've put so much money into septic systems. We've got 3 new septic systems.
Yes.
We put thousands of dollars in, they still don't work right.
Correct.
When we have heavy rain, we have a downstairs toilet we can't even use. We have to use the upstairs, and we're getting too damn old to be climbing the stairs. They said you could put a raised bed in, but they don't guarantee those either. And we have a neighbor who had a raised bed put in. We paid like $20,000 for it. It doesn't work. So we need sewers down there.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next person.
Okay, I have questions. So this is a lot of homes going in, a lot of families. What's gonna happen with the schools? We're talking about Palmer septic, going the septic system. They're overflowing. Like the school, my girl, thank God she's 16, so we don't have to deal with that anymore. But is anybody looking at the schools, the quality of the schools, the teachers, the classroom sizes, the size of the school? Like, you're gonna give them a septic system, and we're gonna have more kids. You can't tell me all those houses and apartments are gonna be just adults. You're gonna have kids. Is anybody taking a look at that?
We have gotten statements from the school district that they have.
Enrollment's actually down too.
Yeah, enrollment's down. The school district has said they have capacity. The other thing that's worth noting is what we've seen with apartment complexes and apartments is the number of children per unit is much lower than single-family housing.
What kind of capacity does Palmer say they have?
They're actually they're redistricting as
Right,
well.
remember the school's going through a 6-year redistricting program.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
eventually-
See, my kid's out of Palmer.
Right,
So I'm like, God.
so Palmer by 2031, I remember what Mr. DeBarry told me last week, so don't quote me. Palmer will be UPK, Universal Pre-K, to grade 3. Ray will then become 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, 4 through 6.
They are gonna add on to Ray.
So Ray will become bigger?
Correct.
Okay.
And then, so all the elementary schools will be UPK through 3. They are going to construct the second floor on Derby, so they're gonna empty Eldon out in the next 3 years. And some of the Derby kids will be attending when they start shifting the grades. And I just was told by Mr. DeBarre, I don't remember all of it, but they are gonna shift one of the grades as 7th grade moves up. They're gonna shift one of those to Eldon, to use Eldon while Derby undergoes extensive renovations and adds the second floor.
And Baker?
Baker will stay 10, 11, 12. There's
And they
no
have
movement there.
capacity for potentially more?
Yeah, Mr. DeBarre has never stated any concerns with increase of students because we don't know who's gonna live here. So you can't,
No, I understand that, but
it's
it's
a
only
hard thing
somebody's
to-
looking at it, because I know when my daughter was
Yes.
going through all the schools, they were at capacity, and holy crap, there were problems. Like, she's not
yes.
even at Baker
Was it the
anymore.
mid-2010s or no?
Oh.
Or was
No.
it recently?
She's only in 10th grade, right?
So I'm just, I know the mid.
So then, okay, because if she was in there in 10, then they didn't even have capacity to have a full kindergarten class. It was half days. 'Cause
At
my son-
Palmer?
Yeah, my son was at Palmer. They didn't even have a full,
So it calmed down after
Yeah.
my daughter left.
Yeah.
Because it's been a hot nightmare
Yeah.
since through the whole thing. So I'm thinking, because there's kids in our neighborhood now, I'm on Surbrook. I'm like, oh, these poor kids are gonna go to Palmer. It was a mess when my daughter was there. So I just wanna make sure somebody's, like, talking about septic system, but what about capacity? My second question is, and we're on a septic, right? Okay, that's
That's okay.
So, I don't know, he deals with that. So, if sewage were to come down on Surbrook, I don't really care one way or another, we don't have a problem with our septic, we're right on the river. What's the time frame for this? Like, it's not gonna be overnight, right?
No.
So how many years are we waiting? Because maybe some people are thinking it's not even worth the wait, we're going to Florida.
That might be a separate public hearing if we want. I love to set, that's probably yeah, it would all depend on, I mean, if this gets approved
construction.
and we luck out and comes through the state, we get the grant. We would be applying for the next phase for the grant. We would start discussions. The next thing is, if this becomes approved, how would we create the sewer district? Would we try to create it all as one and bring people on so they're already in the district? Or would we create extensions as we go? There's a lot of other things we have to discuss to determine the path forward on that.
So guesstimating, 5 years, 10 years, 15?
They would have 18 months to build that pump station.
Okay, so then
So
once,
that's,
like,
say, 2 years.
hypothetically walk me through, we're on Surbrook. People are thrilled about having septic. This all gets approved, he does his thing, yay. How long am I waiting?
We'd have to make
Did I
that's
exceed
fine, a little
5 minutes?
5-minute mark. But that's, no, that's fine.
No.
Everybody has, nobody's up in arms, that's fine. They're all great questions.
Throw them in this.
We would have to, the residents could petition, the residents could go around and say, hey, we don't want to wait, this is already moving along, pump station's built, we want to add on. We could, try to build the district and then go for the grant money later. I think we have a much stronger chance of achieving a grant in that area than we do in any other area in the town of Lysander. So having the assistance to help offset the tax burden of the district costs would be beneficial to that area.
So hypothetically speaking,
Maybe within 5 years.
Okay.
Because that's a process. I mean, this is,
because I
could be
figured
a
it's
couple
not
of
an overnight
years.
thing, so.
I mean, if this got approved, Mario, when do you think the first building would hold people?
First building that we would build?
Well, when would you anticipate, if this went through in September of '25, how long would it be before a resident, the sewer's built and there's an actual resident now?
2 years.
So we wouldn't be able to move forward on
They got
anything.
somebody in there.
Well, we wouldn't be able to move forward until that sewer lines first, you know,
So 5 years, give or
yes.
take a few?
Minimum.
Okay. My last question, I'm sorry. With all these people coming in, they could be fabulous people. Maybe not. Anybody thinking about increased security and patrols, and our fire department's pretty small, who's gonna support them if,
We
It's in the
actually,
Belgium district.
yeah,
that piece is gonna be in Belgium?
that is in
The
Belgium.
53
Are we
patio
the
homes are
corner?
in Seneca.
Seneca River's closer, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
It's just district lines.
district lines.
Okay, so they're not our problem.
Correct.
The 53 patio homes, I think.
Yes, the 53 patio homes on the east side of Hayes Road would be in Seneca River.
No, they won't. No, they won't. See, they won't.
It's on this
I
side.
thought the district line went up to almost Mr. Lee's house.
No.
No, it's the creek.
Where is
Oh,
that?
it's a creek, okay, I thought it went to Mr. Lee's
It's all
house.
Belgium.
Okay, it's all Belgium.
It's not there.
Yeah, I thought it extended up to
No.
the house, almost to the houses.
But
So
I
none
can't
of
get
this
online to look
impacts
at that,
either?
so-
No, it's Belgium.
Yeah,
Okay, I think I'm done. Am I done? You're coming?
Yeah, you wanna go?
Amber, you have to take the rest of your classes. You have to take the rest of your fire classes.
No, ma'am, I don't. It's not me.
I gotta follow up what she was talking about.
Sure.
Maybe,
Is this the Florida part right now?
maybe, so if you build the treatment plant, okay, who's gonna get that first? Who's gonna benefit from that first? The new buildings or the current residents?
So we currently have dry sewers along Gloria, Camerdale.
no, we don't have, so it's,
sorry.
so it's Gloria, the Amelia Park Development, Rainier, Newha, that piece,
Yep.
and Brickwalk have dry sewers.
Okay.
They would be served first, and the reason they would be served first is because the most urgent need is to get sewers to Palmer.
Okay.
So, and it's a very, because there's no roads to cross, it's a very easy sewer to put in from Amelia Park to the pump station.
Yep,
It's low hanging fruit.
yep.
Your neighborhood, not such low hanging fruit because you have gas
Everything's
there, you have
gotta
water
move up.
there, and the sewer goes below all of that stuff. So to sewer your neighborhood is gonna be more expensive than to sewer Amelia Park because the dry sewers are already in that development. So it's a cost thing.
Okay, so I guess my question is, who's actually paying for our neighborhood? If it gets through?
Just like his neighborhood is paying for his sewer, that's what the
No, I'm
debt
talking
service.
about to actually do it. Who's actually paying to have it done?
The hookup.
The hookup, who's paying?
The
to put
district,
this in?
the residents that are within the district. So depending on how the district is created, that would all come into play. But ultimately, the added debt to the district would be, if that was just an extension, it would be borne by X amount of units over cost.
Okay,
So whatever we had to do in that area, that's why we said we would apply for grants, because this isn't just a sewer pipe with a gravity feed. These are grinder pumps. These are,
Right.
there are things that need to move the product
Right.
to the pump station.
right. Okay, so how many homes would that system support?
Is sized to sewer the whole Cold
If
Spring?
that thing got built,
Yep.
how many homes are you?
So
estimating?
it's a 2,100 and change
Okay.
units.
Units, okay.
Units. And that's based on this is at the board's direction, a maximum development density of 2 units per acre on the undeveloped portions of the Cold Springs Peninsula.
But we're still talking units though.
We're still talking.
Just talking. So the math is, you're saying if it doesn't go through, which is $2,800?
$2,100 units.
$2,100 a year.
No.
Dollar wise.
Oh, that wouldn't be your neighborhood. That's the neighborhoods that the low hanging fruit.
Right.
Yeah.
Hold on, hear me out. So if you're saying it doesn't, the development doesn't go through what that treatment plant does, they're paying $2,800 a year? Is that correct?
If we
No.
built the sewer lines without the development.
If we didn't
phase
approve
one,
this, and there was not gonna be any houses on Melvin Farms,
Yep.
it would be $2,800 a year.
So now we're going from 2,800 to If it was built, Melvin Farms.
227.
So 500 units to make up that much of a difference?
Well, yeah, when you think about the math of that, so there's 146 units existing. 146 divided into 537 is, tell you here, but yeah. What's that? Yeah, 3.4 or something, 3.5, something like that.
Station.
We haven't really broken down like the Red Rock area to be able to give you, I don't think we did a number on phase 2. You know what I mean?
Not by
Everybody's looking
itself,
for it.
not by itself. I understand where you're going. I can get you that number.
Okay.
But it's really hypothetical right now, and it's gonna be a really high number. And the goal
Without Melvin Farms.
what's that?
Without the Melvin Farms development, it'd be high.
Even with Melvin
Even
Farms.
with Melvin.
So
Because
for
of
your,
the infrastructure that's needed to move the sewage.
so with that being said, there's also, like when Collington Point was approved, the incentive zoning for Collington Point, I think we got $1,500 or $1,000 per lot that has been set aside to help sewer your neighborhood. So, and there's other incentive zoning parcels on the Cold Springs Peninsula that would be asked to contribute to help lower what the debt service cost is gonna be for your neighborhood. So that's the concept of incentive zoning is, hey, we'll allow you to build more density than you would normally be allowed. In return for that, you need to provide benefits to the community.
Right.
The need on the Cold Springs Peninsula, where the majority of our incentive zoning land is to provide sewers for the existing residents.
Right.
So we would be looking for infill development such as the Abbott parcel that's 68 acres or whatever that just sold between Melvin Farms and you. When that got developed, hey, pay the piper. These guys, you know, if they're gonna put 300 units there, these guys provided benefits of about $2 million, $2.2 million, or 500. You're gonna put 300 in, we want $1 million from you to help sewer your neighbor. And I'm speaking hypothetically,
Right.
obviously. We want $1 million towards what the cost to sewer the Red Rock neighborhood is as part of your project. Okay. So that's the long-term planning process that the town board and me as a town engineer have gone through and how we selected these incentive zoning parcels. It's to provide services, specifically on the Cold Springs Peninsula, of sewers.
Right, to the future and existing residents.
Right, I think what we're all asking is that we're not put last.
No, you would,
That's what we're
in the
asking.
grand scheme, you're the
phase
second
two.
part.
Yeah, you're
My
phase two.
parents would be the last part on River Road because there ain't gonna be enough units there to make us run that stretch.
Right.
So I don't want to even hear from her. But that's, the plan would be to follow in a counterclockwise motion. You know, because that's just logistically how it would, the easiest way to bring units online to the sewer system.
Okay, so one
With
last
this-
question, with that being said, is when will we start actually paying for it as residents?
Not until
Not until
the sewer
you're in it.
district is
Not until
constructed.
you're,
So we're in it, so we're not gonna be paying for 2 years for something we're gonna have, you know?
till the district gets created and all the I's are
Until you're
dotted.
benefiting, until you're able to benefit from the sewer, you won't pay that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a few comments and questions. Forgive my ignorance, by the way. So a couple questions. How much would it cost to actually run the sewer system to Timber Banks? They're building all those new houses right there next to it. You know, if we were to actually do it the other way, it seems closer in proximity.
We looked at it. Hang on, I'll give you the answer. Just gotta get there.
Well, per district, per unit.
Right, the per unit fee is more.
So
Per unit fee for the housing development that's there?
the per unit fee for the school district, because the school district pays for the units too.
Okay.
So
Which means
we all
Town
pay for it.
Lysander's on the hook for 2/3 of that, roughly.
Okay.
It's actually more like 3/4,
Okay,
because there's only 57 existing homes that would be served by that
okay,
total. It's $1.99 million.
okay.
So it's about $1 million cheaper, but you go from 57 units benefiting to 146 units benefiting.
Well, plus the 500.
But yes, but you see, that's how the debt service
Sure.
gets lower.
Sure, totally understand. Now I've heard the idea, I mean, I heard you say earlier that it's a lower percentage of people who can afford the more expensive homes, but when you look at timber banks, you know, to this gentleman's point here, the 172 homes that are going in, or the potential of 172 homes going into that field, you know, what's the average cost of the ones that are going next to timber banks right now?
I think that 750 number is probably pretty close.
So they're probably selling at that, so there is the potential that $23,000 tax benefit that he was talking about?
I think it would be decades to construct it.
Even with Micron coming in?
Even with Micron coming in.
Okay.
Just because, yeah, if those are gonna be good jobs, but $100,000 a year job doesn't buy a $750,000 house.
Okay, and what about
Let's be realistic.
Well, what about the capacity issue? My understanding is that timber banks are the owner of the outreaches. If they don't get the ROI on their golf course there, timber banks, that he's gonna make that into a development. Is that already zoned or coded for that?
It can't happen. It's actually part of the agreement for the PUD.
Okay.
Is that has to be remain open space as part of the community.
For X amount of years or?
Forever.
Forever?
There's more property going through Patch Road that could be developed.
Yeah.
That was discussed in 2004 when the project was first created, that the long pole plan would be to eventually develop toward Patch Road.
Okay, so how
The
many more
main
houses?
sticking point back then was the residents on Patch Road did not want an immediate egress to Patch Road, that would be one of the last parts.
But how many houses are going in there next to timber banks?
In timber banks?
Yeah, next to it, or?
Yeah, it's part of the
next to
development. It's all
YMCA. Yep.
So they're at like 390 units right now. I think they're total allowed.
What, 540?
585, I think it is.
585.
Yeah.
Is there a better tax benefit for what they're doing versus what we would be doing?
Well, what's the zoning in timber banks?
PUD.
Right.
So it's a higher density than what
Give
would
them an
be
idea on the
allowed.
lot size, like R10, R.
Oh, they're the next phase that's coming on. They're like R12.5, so like 12,500 square foot lots to, we'll say 17,000 square foot lots, 18,000 square foot lots. On average.
So we could reduce the amount of lots though, and we could just do houses down there, like you're saying.
The cost for the existing residents and the cost for the people that live there would be much higher.
I don't think if you decided to go that path and put 250 to 300 homes in, that the developer would be putting up a couple $1 million, because now you're relying on lot sales, whereas this project would be relying on mostly rentals continuing. You know, the average lot cost selling price in timber banks now is what, around 185 to 100?
Over 100. Yeah, I think
So
Are we looking at potential tax benefits, or are we looking at what the developer's gonna get in their pocket?
no, we're looking at.
No, this isn't, I understand what you're saying. In, going back to that kind of development, this is gonna be an HOA. They've already agreed that an HOA will run this, so just like Radisson, just like Timber Banks, there are gonna be rules. I'm gonna assume that the maintenance will be done by the HOA with what they're building.
Okay.
That you look at a $23,000 tax bill with a $750,000 home, it doesn't necessarily equate to what it's going to cover for the town or the community, where that ends up.
But mainly the main reason this would get pushed through is basically just for this sewer system for the school. Correct?
Well, sewer, I wouldn't
that's where
say.
it seems like more of a sales pitch towards that.
We did a
This isn't a pitch.
$45,000. We did a $45,000 sewer study last year, and this is what opened my eyes up.
Yeah.
When we got a cost to sewer the peninsula, which has been a plan way before this board, and, back into the 60s and 70s. The cost is now $35 to $40 million. And you look at the cost of, it's not a question of when, or to me, it's when we will be told to have to do something in an area that I know cannot afford to take on that debt service that would be created. And then the town or that area is paying for all of these improvements. And that goes back, this goes back 20 years to 4 boards ago with TDR that incentive zoning took the place of. that was, giving and receiving areas, and the peninsula was always destined to be developed in a town board or a planning board, so incentive zoning gives us the opportunity to make an ask from a developer. If he came in and wanted to build 180 houses, he'd come in for a zone change, and all of this would be off the table.
But realistically, when you say we can't afford, or you're saying, I assume we, when I hear like,
The district residents,
Correct,
in those
sure.
sewer districts, without the additional infrastructure that would be built, that would be almost impossible to afford. Without some kind of huge help that, we'd be talking about bonding, and you'd be bonding on things that you're repairing to make it affordable.
Even with bonding, you can't use money from the rest of the town to pay the cost of the sewer district improvement that only benefits the residents in that district. It's against the law.
but realistically, you're
All
gonna
the
be,
cost gets put on the residents.
Sure.
So if you had to spend 40 million to sewer the peninsula, it's the people that live on the peninsula that would be paying that through your tax bills.
but realistically, we're probably gonna end up having to pay more anyway because of our tax assessments that are gonna increase based on the properties that are going in. So you're saying, hey, you can't afford sewer, but we're gonna raise your assessments by the time this is all said and done, we're gonna send you a letter, and you're gonna have more taxes anyway.
We have frozen assessment increases.
For how long?
It's indefinite.
It's indefinite right now, because for the most part, it's your school taxes that would be affected if we changed assessed values. I mean, for the most, outside of special district costs, the cost, the actual total town cost that people pay,
Yep.
the average home's paying about $600 a year to actual town costs. That's not special districts,
Sure.
Water, sewer. The cost of the sewer districts would be monumental.
What is monumental? I mean,
Well, the number on that, just the
to
first.
residents, like what?
$2,800 a year.
Okay.
Isn't that
One more.
cap 600?
Huh?
Isn't that cap?
Well, that's where the state comes in, but if the state required us to sewer the bottom half of Hayes Road, and we didn't have the, $1.7 million pump station and the laterals already built, we'd have to build that. That would be part of that district cost. And that would be jumping, going, well, the people who have had dry sewers for 35 years, well, okay, then why don't we look at putting phase 1 and phase 2 together to help the phase 2 people to offset that cost. I don't think it would get through the state, but it wouldn't change the fact that if we did have, something going into the river, that it would still have to be remediated.
But if we're saying $2,800 a year, isn't that like worth a vote, hearing from the people? I mean, I can't speak for myself, but I can only speak for myself.
There would have to be a map plan and report, and then there's how you create the district. There's a couple different ways. That would not, even if this gets approved, the sewer district would still have to be created to go to Palmer. This isn't.
Yeah, no,
this gets
I know,
approved,
that's
it
what I'm
goes to
saying,
Palmer.
I can speak for myself when I say, I would say, all right, $2,800, let's get the sewer to Palmer, that's a town vote, versus.
But it's not a town vote. It's the district.
I know, but that's what I'm just saying in general,
It's probably more.
rather than having 500 homes, which I think the assessment of 800 people, 900 people is very low. When you think about that, you're at a minimum 1,500, you're looking at 2 cars apiece. Sure, there's a traffic report, not that I'm gonna buy it anyway. I've seen enough car accidents on Hayes Road myself and pull people out of them, so it is what it is, I thank you for your time, I just don't think that it's, viable.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
I'd just like to say one thing, and
Just gotta come up to the microphone.
Okay. I grew up in Fairhaven, and we had septic tanks, and I remember one summer my family didn't get to go on vacation because we had a problem. And it was an unexpected problem. And it cost us a lot of money at the time. Back in the 60s, it was tough. And at the time, they were trying to get sewers in Fairhaven. And everybody said, no, I don't want anybody coming in, I don't want anybody doing that, not here. Years later, my father-in-law had to pay almost $4,000 because the state forced them to do it.
At the time, when in the 60s, when they were talking about doing it, it would have, 90% of it would have been picked up by the state. I'm just gonna put it this way. I lived in a house since 2003 with a dry well, and they promised sewers. Hasn't happened. It's frustrating. And it never gets cheaper. Nothing ever gets cheaper. You go to the grocery store, stuff doesn't get cheaper. So, you know, we're either gonna have to do it or, and I'm 77, I'm not gonna be around that long, but I would like to see grandchildren and children and people that live in our community have safe water, sewer, and everything. It would be nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you. My mother will probably argue with you over there. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
I just a quick question. What would the homeowners who have dry sewers, what would they have to do with their existing septic tanks?
So the decommissioning part of that would be on the homeowner. It varies in cost. I don't have any accurate
Not
numbers.
necessarily cost, but what is the procedure? You have to.
So they pump the tank, they remove the lid of the tank, and they fill the tank with sand.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Then you would have to hook up to where the lateral,
Sure.
you know, your property part would have to be taken care of. I do know Mr. Kolba stepped out. I know that Mr. Kolba had a question, and I just wanted to verify that. Okay, well, then I saw, I don't know if he left, but I wanted to, while I remember it. He had asked, he's a resident on 370, and he asked me this morning if there was any plans for a lateral to go down 370 if the first phase was approved going east from Hayes and Hicks. I was wrong. At this current time, we don't have a plan in this phase to address the residents on 370 outside of the dry sewer systems. I just wanted to clear that up. Comes back out, or if he comes back.
So I don't want to say that stating there's not a plan isn't necessarily accurate, but it would be in a future phase when the parcel on the east side of Hicks Road between what has always been known as the Pompa Woods development that never got developed, basically those two fields that Abbott owns, when those got developed, they would provide sewers to that piece of 370 and that section of River Road there. So there's a plan, but it's going to be a process and it's going to take infill development to allow that to happen.
So I just wanted, if there was any residents along 370, I just wanted to let you know that before I forgot. Is there anyone else? Oh, there was someone back there?
Yeah, he has his hand up.
Probably a very ignorant question, but let's consider the source. My name is Greg Stevens. I live on Gloria Drive. So, part of the group that has the dry sewers, you just mentioned the decommissioning process, and it maybe, you know, cry in my fortunate situation if the sewers come through based on the development, and is it a mandatory process within the town that one would have to hook up to that as part of the decommission to, why would anyone not want to do it? I don't know. We would assume it would be a benefit to the homeowner themselves, but there's also, in addition to the debt service that you'd be paying, there's obviously that additional cost to get tied in, and what is going on within each of the different people in the different areas with their basements, or how are they hook up, what are the implications for having to change things and bear the cost to tie into it. Something we always wanted, and then it comes to fruition, careful what you wish for, now you got to figure out how to do it.
The tangible cost.
Yes, exactly.
So, you know, really hard to estimate. It all depends on how far your house is to the road. I know, like the homes in Amelia Park, they actually ran the lateral from the main into the basement and capped it. I've never been in any of the basements at Gloria Drive to say
Same situation, air vent into the basement and cap.
Yeah, so if you've got a pipe already going to the basement, to pump your septic tank and fill it with sand, you're looking at 1.5 10-wheeler loads of sand to fill in your septic tank at most. A couple $1,000, you know, and then any interior plumbing work you need to do redirect your pipe going to your septic tank, the pipe that's capped. You know, so 2,500, $3,000, I mean, it's a ballpark.
Thank you.
Now, but I think your other question was, would you be responsible for the district costs once you're hooked up?
When you're in the district, regardless, you have the ability to hook up, you're going to be charged the district costs, even if you choose not to hook up. It's going on your tax bill.
The debt service will go on your tax bill. You won't pay the county treatment charge until you're hooked up.
Yeah.
With that being said, there is a law in the county's plumbing code that if sewers become available at your home, you're supposed to hook up. I've never seen the county enforce it, but there is a law in the books that says if sewer becomes available, you're supposed to hook up.
So you would, you know, depending on whatever the debt service is, if the district was created at that point, you would be responsible for the debt service to the district.
Regardless of whether you're hooked up or not, and it's lawbreaker to not hook up.
Well, right, yeah, then the 450 or the 460 from the county that's annual to be in a, you know, working, you know, they're charging you the fee, that would fall in whenever the county decides to drop the hammer on it.
I've never heard of that, unfortunately.
No, me either.
As someone who spent far too much time inside their raised septic tank, going to the raised septic bed, it's wonderful to hear that it may benefit people with the dry sewers and others in the community that are in need of that. I do, just I guess to put it on record, I think that the addition of the traffic light, the additional traffic, I wonder what that does, not only to the sight lines. I know they've taken steps in the plans to try and mitigate that. The additional apartments, people that aren't necessarily contributing to the tax base the way that a traditional homeowner is, at least not in the same way. Maybe there's other ways that it benefits the community through expenses and adding jobs and things like that. I recognize all those different factors. But is it always the right thing to necessarily grow at the expense of an opportunity? Maybe caution is a good thing. You don't want to miss it. You know, hindsight's 20/20. If you have a chance that someone's willing to work with you and make something happen, it's great. But is it what the town, the village, and the surrounding areas, is it fit? Is it congruous? I mean, some of the views over by Timberbanks right now, it looks a little different than it used to, say, when my in-laws moved into River Road and it was cornfields surrounding. And it's changing awful fast. Maybe it's a case of keep up or get left in the dust, but I guess that's why we have to make tough decisions. Either way, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's kind of been mentioned before, but I just thought I'd ask the question, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself. My name is Paul Dorsey. I live in Holly Hill. I've been there for over 30 years. One of the still original owners of the property. Love the development, and I know the issue of traffic has been brought up before, but I don't know if any of you ever tried to get out of Shanagary at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you have Callington Point looking at you, and you're trying to go on 370, and the sun is coming up on your right-hand side, and you're trying to go either left or right. The intersection is very difficult to navigate at certain times of the day, and my neighbor's with me here as well. I have gone out to at least 8 or 9 traffic accidents at that intersection. You have people who pass around on the white lane on the shoulder while people are trying to turn. I sent a letter to, I think it was Dinsmore, the traffic. I understand it's a state road, but my question is, when you are going to do, when the study was done, is there any recommendation, or was there any suggestion about the speed limit being lowered? I know we did it over on River Road.
We did a traffic study. We just actually put in a request for a traffic study.
From, I believe, almost Hayes to the...
Yeah, because I feel, because I live in Evans, right? I feel that 55 is too fast, right? When you come down, it should be past us all the way by the light. That's where the 55 is. So we did a traffic study. We put in for it. We won't get that back until what? Another year?
Well, they won't. Yeah. They've actually turned those around a little faster, but they won't do the counts until after school's in session.
But when school's in session,
and then you'll typically see
that issue. Because you're right, there are a lot of accidents.
Because you got to come to a stop to turn, and you've got cars that are going 55. Exactly.
If you get there, you're going straight, someone's coming the other way, they're going to turn in front of you regardless.
That's exactly what happens.
I deal with it every day.
So I appreciate you guys on, I appreciate the time to speak. Thank you.
Sure.
And just to address that, and the traffic counts on the traffic study that was done in 2023, there was a nominal increase of traffic from this development going into the village. It's an estimate. They're estimating numbers, but, the continued traffic downstream toward the.
But I gotta say, sometimes the numbers and the reality don't.
Oh, no,
match.
yes, no, we all understand that.
Lifetime there, I gotta tell you, it's gotten worse. Thank you.
And because it's a state road, the state determines what they would do for traffic or signals at that area.
Thank you.
Sure. Is there someone else who would like to speak? Anyone else?
Yeah, I got a question. Since we're talking about traffic, several times Abbott Farms has these special events. Last time they had a special event, you cross the light at Hayes and Pitts, they had cars on both sides of the road, all the way down. So now you've got all those cars, plus all the cars coming through, and if they're gonna make a left turn to get into the apartment complex during that event, there's gonna be problems. Now, I know that's more, Abbott has to get more parking.
Well, I guess I would talk to the state about having no parking signs. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what that path is on a state road.
When you drive down,
No, I know, but what event were you referring to?
I don't know, it was about a month ago.
Strawberry Festival.
Strawberry Fest.
They have the Strawberry Fest,
Because I know he puts out, but no.
but they have cars parked on both sides, and these are all the way down to the light, maybe 10 feet from the actual intersection. And then they went past the light, continuing on Hayes. Now, I've not read your traffic study. 2 years ago, they mentioned all the traffic on 370 was Hicks Road put in that traffic study, because all the people parking in that complex are gonna be going to 31 to do their shopping.
I think you'll see the pattern change some. We do. I think with Micron and the increase in traffic on 31, I do think that people on the Cold Springs Peninsula will start to migrate east to John Glenn to 57.
Well, let's hope not. Lastly, the stormwater, that's a lot of impervious ground up there. All that stormwater looks like it's going down to that stream at the bottom of Hayes Road. Hayes Road can then flood in these heavy storms. Has something been looked at in that?
So the developer will be required as part of their speedy construction permit to mitigate water quantity and water quality. Their peak runoff rate will not be allowed to exceed what their pre-development rate is for that open field.
Because I don't think that, I've been here 15 years, and I don't think it's ever fully flooded, but it's gonna be close with all that extra stormwater from off the top of the hill.
There should be no increase in stormwater. Like I said, they'll develop a stormwater management plan with appropriately sized stormwater retention ponds.
We'll see. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there someone else?
I got kind of a weird question. If you say you have to hook up or pay anyway, well, I can hook up the water, I'm on a good spring that I hope doesn't get affected by them wells or pump stations and basements. I'm on Hayes, and now if I have to hook up the sewage, my understanding is you pay your water bill half again for sewage, right?
No, that's not the way it works in Lysander. That's a village policy. That's not the way it works here. The town has leased their sewers to Onondaga County Water Environment Protection. You will only pay the county treatment charge in the town of Lysander. You'll pay no additional fee other than debt service.
Okay, so there's no sewage amount you limited to?
Yep.
No, it's part of the annual fee.
That's a great question.
It's on the table.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
No, I didn't either. Thank you. Is there anyone else willing to speak or that would like to speak? Seeing none, no. Oh, she's fine right where she is. She's had this present. She's just an observer. So if there's no one else willing to speak, we will close the public hearing at.
You have to make a motion to close?
Okay, we'll make a motion to close the public hearing. I was trying to read my phone. Make a motion to close the public hearing on Melvin Farms at 7:59 PM.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Public hearing is adjourned. We'll take a couple minute recess here, so let me.
Yeah, that's right.
Watch through the post coaching.
Thought about that. It goes right up to Jim's house.
Yeah, right up to it. Like a corner of it is in. Most of it is Hi, Mario. How are you? How are you doing? Thanks for coming out.
Well, it's always fun. Whoops.
Hey, Ron.
All right, here, I got it.
Guarantee it.
So you get crosswalks first.
Well, that's why I gotta do something.
So this is Amelia Park, this is Renia, that's Danville.
Just
So I do what I got.
they're paying for this.
No, they are not paying for this, the residents here pay for stuff.
One station is running in all the rest of it.
For the best, that's these residents for walking in. Yeah. Okay, thanks for that. No problem.
I just want to thank you for coming up to the microphone first.
Mario, always a pleasure.
How are you?
Good.
Thank you for doing that.
And I got a live with Jeff, and I would have felt good, other than the change on the we're not gonna say it's on the extended river trail, we're gonna say it's for parks and rec improvements to the town of Lysander. Other than that, I think we finally have
Shall I email the new one?
the new one with all the changes accepted, and then we will,
All right, can I do that Monday or Tuesday?
have a great weekend. Nice seeing you. Thank you.
just a tile well. It wasn't a deep one.
Very, very, like a tile well, extremely spring fed and moving water.
Yeah.
Very, very few paths, fecal coliform. Very few. Like, if it was 1 in 50, I'd be surprised. Literally, that's how few it is.
But I'm like, there's several hundred units all around town. Well, I miss everybody's on traffic. You got very permeable sand soil.
It's all sand up there. It's all sand and gravel.
When it goes out in the early June, and it rains, that's getting flow right down into the pond.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That lady that comes out of the river, I never have any septic problems. You got a pipe going to the river.
Yeah.
Period. That's what's going on.
That's why. Yeah. And then there was a people up at the top of the hill where our camp is. They used to have a pump house down in the pump. They would pump water up to their house. Everybody's from sure. You didn't want to like if you sure everything's right. Well, basically, when you just pump, then you feel powerful. Right back up here.
Can't see how many houses of honey.
There were a lot of great ones. I didn't know that.
So for years, we had the well. Then, finally, like, pretty much because
Mr.
yes.
I think we're almost ready to resume.
This is a highfalutin engineering conversation over here.
And talking about, you know what, going downhill.
You've got a pump station.
Good thing it's recorded.
As long as I get it.
And they really.
Okay. Mrs. Rowe.
Mrs. Rowe, before you get escorted out of the building.
Is it citizens' order?
No. Oh, we got another public hearing here. Okay.
Oh, we got another one?
Yes. So I would like to get to open the proposed code updates public hearing at 8:08 p.m.
I'll move it. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll open the public hearing. Just gotta write my little notes down here and address everybody. Okay. The proposed code changes have been out there for about 3 months. Is there anybody that would like to speak on the proposed code changes? Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public hearing on the proposed code changes at 8:09 p.m.?
I'll move it.
8:09.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. That was way faster than the first one.
Okay.
So, next item on it, I'm sorry. This is 90 Day Fiancé on or something, I don't know.
Big brother.
Citizens, next item on the agenda, citizens' comments. Would any of the 3 citizens like to make a comment?
The room got cold when they all left.
I concur, it is a little chilly.
Okay. Duly noted. Next item on the agenda, town board comments. With Mr. Moore.
All right. The room did empty out. I feel a little bad because I wanted to thank everybody that was here. This was a good crowd of citizens who were really concerned about their community. And in my notes, I just wrote many new faces and high-quality questions. It was really nice to have thoughtful dialogue with the community out there. So if you're out there watching this and you know someone who came to the meeting tonight, thank them for me, please. And thanks for watching. Thank you to those of you who stayed.
Diehards.
And aside from that, I'll move on.
In all the years I've been on the town board, since 2014, I've never attended a public hearing at the quality level that this one was tonight. So all those who are watching on PAC-B TV, this was fun to be in this room tonight. Every question was intelligent. Every question was asked respectfully. I was just so impressed with the quality of the citizens of the town of Lysander, and you made my day. Thank you.
And I'll echo what Mr. Drossi and Mr. Moore said. Appreciate all the questions. They were great questions. Thank you for watching on PAC-B.
Okay, thank you all. Supervisors' comments. I don't have much to add other than we still have our summer hours until next Friday, Monday through Thursday. We're here 8:30 to 4:30, Friday 8:30 to 1:30. They will end next Friday. We'll go back to our regular hours, 9 to 4:30. Tax bills, it's that time of year for school taxes. They will be mailed out on August 29th. We will start receiving taxes here at Town Hall on Tuesday, September 2nd. We have a drop box outside. The tax office window hours have not changed. They are still 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. But like I said, there's a drop box outside. You're free to drop it off overnight. Just remember on your tax bill, if you would like a receipt, to check the box that you'd like a receipt mailed back to you. The only other thing I had to add, Pop Warner is kicking off this weekend, Saturday evening at Lysander Park. They are doing the high school varsity team, I believe, is having a scrimmage. I'm not sure if the JV's coming or not, but they are doing a night to try to bridge that gap between the Pop Warner players and the varsity kids. So they're going to be running a scrimmage, having a practice. They're going to have food trucks. They're trying to make a big deal out of it. Come out to the park, check out our newly chipped parking lots, and play at the spray park if it's not 64 degrees, like it's
Play at the spray park if it is 64. Why not?
You can anyway. It's open until about 6 or 7 at night. And then on Sunday, there are Pop Warner games from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if you want to come out and watch right from the little flag kids right up to the 12-year-olds, come on out and enjoy it. They'll have the lights going, and they'll be there till probably 8, 9 o'clock on Sunday. So feel free to stop out. That is all I had. Department heads. Town attorney.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Town engineer. Town clerk.
All set, thank you.
All set. Okay. Next up is the agenda items. First item on the agenda. I'd like to get a motion to accept the resignation of Annika Sermonaro as rec leader effective Friday, August 22nd, 2025.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Discussion. Annika worked with us this summer. She's going on to other things. We thank her for her service and her time and her dedication to the parks this summer. We wish her well. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, motion carried. Motion B, I'd like to get a motion to appoint Carter Smith as rec leader effective Monday, August 25th, 2025.
I'll second that.
Discussion. As with the resignation of Annika, we are hiring someone. Just so for clarification, we had a hiring process that occurred in the spring. Annika was the one that got the job. Carter had also interviewed. Carter was available and more than willing to jump in and work for the town. So Carter will be starting on Monday, and we appreciate that. All in favor?
Aye.
All yes. Motion carried. Motion C, I'd like to get a motion to approve the special event license for the Annals Angels 5K.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Discussion. This is a run that has occurred over at Palmer School for the last few years, some tragic events. They have to go through the special event license with the town of Lysander rules. I think it's the 5th or 6th year. It's a great event. If you can go out and participate. All in favor?
Aye.
All yes? Aye. Motion carried. Can I get a motion? I don't have any other business, no executive sessions. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:15 p.m.?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good Labor Day. We'll see you on September 4th.